family, friends, and clients to the third edition of the DF Insurance Podcast. I'm Anthony De Berardino, Director of the Berardino Family Insurance Services. In this third edition, we're going to talk about a group of clients that I have called property owners and what they bring to the table, and also what they should look out for and what I recommend to properly protect their business, and also things that they should look out for in regards to their building and their own insurance policies, just to make sure that in the event of a claim that they are properly covered. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. So firstly, when I say the word property owner, I am speaking about a specific group of clients who own properties and lease them out, particularly in the commercial space, to anybody who wants to operate a commercial business. And in a percentage of cases, a small percentage of cases, they actually even operate their own business from the commercial property. So these property owners are very important because they allow a lot of us in the business world to operate our businesses without the actual expense of having to mortgage out or purchase a insurance property of our business property of our own. So they are very important, and hence why it's even more important for them to protect their business, because if the building wants to burn down, it's not just their business that's affected, it's the business that is tenanting the property as well that gets affected. Now, it's not just mums and dads sole traders that own properties. There are proprietary limited companies, there are trusts, there are a wide range of a variety of people and businesses and partners, etc., that own properties. So what I'm going to do now is go through the specific covers that I would generally recommend property owners take out in the event to make sure that they're covered for any particular claims. So now that we've gone through basically what I mean when I say the word property owner, let's have a look at the type of insurances and covers that I recommend that they take out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some general recommendations. So this isn't specific to your own specific circumstances. This is general advice in nature. So if you do have any questions, please call me directly and contact me directly, and we can go through your own insurance policy if you feel that I've missed anything or left anything off, or if you'd like to add anything. So the first category of covers I'd like to talk about are the big three. First of all is your public liability, or broad form liability, or property owner's liability, however it's worded. Now, I get a lot of questions about this particular cover because particularly when there's a landlord with a tenant inside, they'll ask, the business inside has liability, why do I need liability? Well, public liability is important for property owners because it generally covers you if someone was to cause, someone was hurt or injured or property was damaged because of something that directly happened because of your building. So for example, there's a crack in the concrete, someone trips over and hurts themselves. That's the first thing. Now also, it doesn't hurt to be covered in the case that your tenant themselves is not covered in the event of a liability claim, and liability is then forced onto you if it ever happens in a court case, which is very rare, but it does happen. So that's property owner's liability. Second of all is property damage, fire and other damages, fire and other perils, that sort of cover. It sounds exactly as it is. It covers you in the event that something happens to the physical property of your building. So if it burns down, if it's damaged by rain, hail, some insurances will cover for flood as well, malicious damage, or even accidental damage. So these include, like I said, a fire, tearing your building apart, someone having a car accident driving through your building. And now this doesn't include the plate glass, this is just the bricks and mortar part of your building. So that is also very important, particularly as without a building, you can't run your business and you don't get rent from your clients. Which brings me on to my next and final part of the big three covers, and that is business interruption. Now, business interruption covers you in the event of a fire claim for any loss of gross rentals. So it's intrinsically linked to the property damage cover. So if the building's burnt down, or if there is a major impact to the building that prevents the tenant inside from being able to run their business and hence cannot pay you rent, then this will cover you for a specific period of time. Now, business interruption is split with two coverable components. The first is your sum insured, so how much rent you get, and the second coverable component is also the indemnity period. So you will get the amount for a specific period of time. Now, I normally recommend the minimum cover is 12 months. I would recommend you're generally probably looking at 18 to properly cover yourself, because by the time someone gets out there, the architects get out there and the building is then rebuilt, it can take up to 18 months to 2 years. So they're the big three. That's public liability, fire and other damages, and business interruption. Okay, so now that we've focused on the big three, what else do I recommend property owners take out? Well, there are another three covers that I generally recommend that property owners take out. The first is, of course, plate glass. So like I said, the property damage cover doesn't normally cover plate glass. So this is internal and external, whether it's done, again, a car driving through it, or some vandals scratch it, or throw a rock through it, or even maybe the heat or an extreme hot and then cold weather day might cause your glass to shut up. That's something that's definitely coverable. The next is equipment breakdown. So whilst a lot of tenants might have equipment breakdown to cover their production equipment, it's very important for property owners to consider equipment breakdown, particularly if you have some sort of air conditioning or heating system inside the building, because then if that was to break down, you can be covered for that as well. Now, the fantastic thing about some of the equipment breakdown covers that I offer or recommend and take out for my clients is it also covers business interruption. So if you have a restaurant, for example, and it's a hot day, they deal with a lot of cookers and the air conditioning breaks down, they have to shut down until the air conditioning is fixed, and they can't pay rent in that time. Any loss of income that you would have as a property owner would be covered for that as well. So equipment breakdown is very important in the event for property owners. And the other one is, of course, tax order cover. So tax order cover, if you're a business or a sole entity and you're audited by the Australian Taxation Department, we can cover any accountant's fees in the events. So whatever hourly charge they charge you, we can cover. Now, that is an estimate at your guess about how much an accountant would cost. Now, accountants do also offer some sort of tax order cover, but the insurers can be a lot cheaper to cover for that as well. So that's something to definitely look at. So they're the main covers. Now, there are a couple of other covers if you're an entity, for example, management liability, professional indemnity. I'm not going to get into those because this is just for your veg and potato property owners. So the next bit I'm going to focus on now is what you can look for as a property owner in your building itself to make sure that in the event of a claim, you're not adversely impacted from a result. So the final part that I'd like to discuss is speak to the property owners directly in regards to what they can do to minimize the risk of damage to their property and something happened that they're not being claimed for. The first that I always say is make sure that there is no pre-existing damage before you take out an insurance policy and also on renewal. Get a building inspector out there, get them to check everything, dot all your I's, cross all your T's, because the most common reason why a claim is rejected, in my experience, is because there's pre-existing damage. Insurers can tell, they know, and they will be able to see it. The second is make sure that all your water mains and fire hydrants are all checked properly to make sure that they're all pressurized, they're all up to date, because a leaking water main can cause shifting of soil, and that's not a claimable event in insurance. So make sure that all that is all up to date and all nice and Mickey Mouse. Lastly, the most important thing, and funnily enough, it's something that's missed more than anything, your roof. Clear all the debris, make sure there's no leaves blocking pipes, because if there's leaves blocking pipes and the leaves cause a pipe to burst, for example, that's not covered, because part of your duty of care as a property owner is to make sure that everything in your building is working properly. So they're the three things that I mean, look, there's plenty more. If you do want to have more information on this, or if you've got any other questions, please don't hesitate to give me a call. So thank you all very much for listening. This has been the third edition of the DF Insurance Podcast. I'll catch you all next week. Until then, stay safe. It's freezing out there with all this rain. Stay safe, drive safely. Hopefully these restrictions can get lifted soon and we can all get back to business to our full capacity. If you've got any questions, you can always email me, anthony@dfiservices.com.au, or for my clients, you can always contact me via mobile as well. Have a great week.